Elizabeth with the Art of Cherishing Home. Today I'm going to be doing a cook with me. I'm going to be making some cabbage soup. My son is not feeling well and I just feel like soup is a good thing to make. So I'm going to start off by cutting a whole head of cabbage. So as you can see, I started doing thin slices, and I'm going to continue to do thin slices. Now I'm taking those thin slices that I cut and I'm going vertically, depending on your point of view of this, but I'm making slices straight across. Now I'm cutting horizontally to make small cubes. That way it's not big chunks of cabbage in the soup. So as you can see, this is almost full, and this is an 8-cup measuring cup, and I still have half a thing of cabbage. So I think I'm just gonna stop right here because my husband probably won't enjoy the soup because he usually doesn't like soup. So I'll stop while I'm ahead. Next, I'm going to chop up some very sad looking green onion, but this is what I have, so I'm going to use it up. That way it doesn't go completely bad. If you want, you can substitute the green onion for leeks. So this is what it looks like after I chop that up. There is some bits of cabbage in there, if that's why you're going, what are those large chunks? It's bits of cabbage that are still on the cutting board. Next, I'm going to peel and cube up some Idaho potatoes. I think these are russet. They might not be russet though, but these are the potatoes that I have. As you can see, I've cubed the potatoes, and I'm going to continue to cube the potatoes. Now I have a small onion I've already had and chopped off the top and bottom and unpeeled it. I'm going to dice this onion up really quick. So here we have the onions diced. If you have a Dutch oven, I highly suggest using it for the soup. I'm going to go get some olive oil and heat it up in the pan. So I went ahead and put my convention stove top on. I've got my extra virgin olive oil. Also, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I do have a Dutch oven challenge where I've been keeping track of how many times I use my Dutch oven. I got this for Christmas from my husband as a gift, and I just wanted to make it worth it. So my goal is to use it 80 times, and so far I've used it about like 41 times. I have to double check and see where I'm at, but I'm in the 40s now, so I have been using it. You're gonna want to make sure that this heats up and you're gonna start to smell the olive oil. Go ahead and add the onions to the pot when the olive oil becomes fragrant. Do you ever cook something and wish you were cooking something else? Not saying that this is a bad soup, but like I could really go for some sopas from Tercera. I'm just saying, but my husband doesn't do pork or beef, and if you know, you know. So it's not something I can make for him. This isn't mandatory, but I feel like adding it, so I'm going to add some butter to my pot for the soup. You know, if you didn't want to add the butter to like make it vegan, you know, you don't have to add the butter. You can also skip the chicken broth that I'm going to be using and use vegetable broth instead. So I have my seasonings in here, and I'm going to start adding the seasonings so they can kind of bloom a little bit. I have some chicken bouillon. I have some garlic powder. I have some tarragon, some pink Himalayan salt, some black pepper, some Italian seasoning. Don't forget you're going to want a drained can of white cannelli beans. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but it's white kidney beans. You know what I mean. I'm going to go in with 1 teaspoon of the pink Himalayan salt. I can always add more salt later. It is a soup, so it's going to need a lot of salt, but I don't want to overdo it. As you can see, I added in a generous amount of black pepper. So you can add as much pepper that you want or as little as you want. It is your soup, you do you. I'm gonna do a tablespoon of garlic powder, but my family really likes garlic powder, so if you don't like garlic powder like this, you know, do less. Now I'm gonna go in with my tarragon. And I'm not really measuring this because this is like just to your taste, so you can put as much or as little as you want. You can substitute this for parsley if you have parsley. I just don't have any parsley, and my parsley plant died. Rest in peace, parsley plant. Alright, I'm going to do a tablespoon of the Italian seasoning. I'm going to go ahead and add in the beans right now. I went ahead and gave it a good stir. And then I'm going to start to add in the cabbage, green onion, and potatoes that I cut earlier. I'm going to go ahead and add in more black pepper and a little bit more salt and a little bit more tarragon. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of the bouillon to my measuring cup. And I'm going to go ahead and make the broth for that. I'm just letting this cook down for a bit before I add the chicken broth mixture that I made. Try to make sure that there's no clumps in it, and then I will eventually add it here. I'm adding in the broth now. As you can see, it has cooked down quite a bit, and I'm going to be adding water to it as well. I went ahead and added 2 cups of water to it. You can add as much water or as little water as you want, or you could just use like a box of bone broth or vegetable broth or chicken broth, whatever broth you want to use. So you're going to cook down the soup until the potatoes are tender and the cabbage kind of looks like it's see-through, like you can barely see it, like it starts to melt. And then that's how you know your soup is going to be done. My toddler is currently watching one of those restoration videos on YouTube where they take an old toy or an old appliance from like the 1920s or the 1950s and they strip it down, get rid of all the rust, and then restore it. Is there anything interesting that your toddler likes to watch? If you have a toddler or if you have an older kid, you can put down what they like to watch. Anyways, thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye!